Good morning. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer at T3Live.com.
And I'm Brittany Umar, and together we bring you Morning Call Express. So some green arrows around the world this morning as they try and price in the government shutdown. Many people thought we'd fall apart on a situation like this. So Scott, are you surprised to see the market reaction?
It'll be interesting to see if we build today. If you look at the chart of the SPX, you will see that the trend that we've had from November, very strong, tested here in June, tested again in August, and then we had that big move. But if you remember, we were as high as 1729 in the S&P. We had that breakout failure, having some people take risk off. And yesterday we hit a low of 1674. So let's take a closer look here. So as of now, I'm not calling a bottom in this move, but we could trade against 1674, which is yesterday's low. And if we get above yesterday's high of 1687, I do think it would be a bit more constructive. But if they don't come up with something soon and they drag out all the way to the debt ceiling debate as of October 17th, I don't think the market's going to be as forgiving.
So you don't think we have that much leeway here before markets
we got a few days here before we get to see what the real action is next.
Right. All right. Well, in the full morning call, we're going to dive into the retail sector where we have some names acting well and some names not acting so well. But we've got names like Limited, Ross, and TJ Maxx that are all looking good.
Yes, and it's like a have and have-nots environment there. You look at the charts of those three real quickly. You look at Ross stores, almost at the highs above the 8-day, ready to continue going. You look at the Limited, LTD, another stock, very strong investors, nothing to really worry about here, above the 8 and 21-day, looking to go. And then something that you talk about a lot, Brittany, TJ Maxx, one of your favorite stores.
Love my TJ Maxx.
Look at that setup right there. So traders might love it as well. Above this 58.50 or 56.50, it can continue. But then you flip the coin here. You have something like Walmart, which has been basically out of play. If you look here at the chart, you have a series of lower highs. You have a high, lower high, lower high. Maybe buy it versus support here of 72, and then even Target. Look what happened when it broke its uptrend. So sometimes you take the name out of the chart because people are like, oh, Target's unbelievable. Well, if you were an investor in it recently, not so unbelievable. So you look down here, if you're not caught in that mess, perhaps you could trade it versus this 63 area. So I would say 63 is big support. So if you're trying to buy a dip here, make sure if it breaks 63, it could be under a little bit more pressure.
And meanwhile, lots of leading stocks continue to act well. Leaders were the first to go green yesterday, including Tesla, which managed to tack on 1.3%, and even Facebook to start.
Right, and that's what you do in a sea of red. You look for the strongest stocks. In Tesla, you look at this chart, unbelievable. We've talked about it so many times. What a strong trend. A lot of extra buy areas, one right here, one right here. There you go. You know what? This might even hit at 200 today. I wouldn't chase it, but there could be a trade there. But then on the Facebook side, we've talked about all the different setups there, starting from the gap up after earnings. And yesterday, a little bit of a push-through failure. So if you did get short versus high of 51.28, maybe see if it pulls back to the 8-day. And if you miss this Facebook train, at the 8-day, it's been an opportunity. And then if it doesn't hold that, perhaps we see the 21-day. But we haven't seen this line in such a long time.
And then there's Apple, which seems to be hanging by a thread right around the 50-day area. What do you think of the composure of it?
I think, again, people are starting to lose interest. Uncle Carl is in there pushing the buttons. They had lunch yesterday. We didn't hear about how the matzo ball soup was or whether they have new products coming. But anyway, he might say something soon. It's still holding in there. You look at the chart. Stock looks okay. This is the lower channel. Here was your nice move, and now it's trying to build another little base here. I am long a little Apple, and I think it's hanging out okay. Look at yesterday's low, 474. If it were to trade and close below this little support line, I'd start to lose, interest as well. Hopefully it gets going. It starts to act much better if it could start getting back above 481 and get back on its horse. Mr. Miller was on CNBC this morning also talking about how fundamentally it's a great stock, but you know what? The technicals have to start lining up as well.
Right, and we're going to talk a lot more about that and the rest of what we went over in the Express version in the full morning call, so stay with us.